Shows no specifications for street shows, Mr. Mortensen.
Oh, well, don't tell me our esteemed city attorney has dug up an ordinance against a little free entertainment.
Oh, Fat, you haven't given anything away for nothing in your entire career.
Mr. Archer, well, here's 2 tickets to tonight's performance. Down front on the aisle.
First thing a man in public office learns is take a present, owe a favor. Now, Fats, just keep the noise down, huh?
Ladies and gentlemen, and now for the piece de resistance, the most exciting act that's ever appeared in our fair city of Stockton. The lovely lady with the face of an angel and the voice of a nightingale. The sweetheart of the Sierras, Miss Liberty Keene, ladies and gentlemen. She's been called the songbird of Sacramento, the golden voice of the Golden State. And you will hear that lovely voice on our stage here this evening.
Let's hear something now.
Well, friend, we can't do a whole show here on the street, but if you'll be in our theater tonight...
Let's hear what she can do. Come on, girlie. Give us a sample.
Oh, well, now, look, friend, I just got through telling you that we can't...
You gonna start singing a song, or do I start shooting?
Heaven preserve us from impetuous young fools. It's all right, folks. It's all right. It's all part of the act. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Ambrose, the man whose keen eye and steady hand has won him 53 medals from the crowned heads of Europe. And if you think that was sharpshooting, just wait till you see his performance on our stage tonight.
Take them in, Deputy.
There was no real harm done, Mr. Archer. Fats here was just drumming up business for his new show.
I know what he was doing. And you heard what I said.
Well, I'm gonna have to run you in for this, Fats.
Justice will triumph, ladies and gentlemen. Never fear. The curtain at Mortensen's Theater will go up at 8 o'clock sharp tonight.
Round up your songbird and let's go.
Well, if you'd waited, I could have told you it was part of the act.
They'll need a lawyer. Will you help them out?
Well, Heath, I can't do that unless they ask me.
Well, I'm asking you.
Mr. Mortensen may call it entertainment, but the fact is discharging firearms on a city street is in violation of Ordinance 116 and punishable by a fine of $300.
$300? Archer, you know I can't spare that kind of money.
Well, it seems to me you have enough money to hire very expensive legal counsel.
Oh, well, Mr. Mortensen and I have a little agreement. Best seats in the house for opening night, right? Fred, it seems to me that under the circumstances, $300 is a bit excessive.
Well, if your client prefers, perhaps he'd take the jail sentence of 30 days.
Oh, come on now, Phil. We're only dealing with the Fats Mortensen gang, not Quantrell's Raiders.
Is that the latest in San Francisco sophistication? I mean, this is a little out of your current bailiwick. What is your interest here, Jared?
Well, like any other citizen of Stockton, I think I'd be disappointed if the show didn't go on.
So would I.
What happened out there today could have caused serious trouble.
Oh, settle down, Phil. Anybody hurt? Any damage done?
That's besides the point.
Wasn't anything to boil over about.
Well, what do you want me to do? Ignore the entire incident because Jared Barkley is involved?
Well, now, it seems to me that the punishment ought to fit the crime. Fred, why don't we have Mr. Mortensen do a show at the orphanage as a condition of his release?
Agreed, Fats?
Well, fine.
All right, it's settled then. Now clear him out of here.
Mr. Barkley, thank you very much. The tickets will be at the box office. Liberty, my dear?
Well, it's apparent to me, Sheriff, that you and I have to reach some kind of understanding about our respective duties.
Now, don't go puffing up like a turkey gobbler, Phil. You're fresh in your job, and I've had mine for 10 years. I can see I'm going to have to cure your buck fever just like I did Jared's when he first took over your job.
How well I remember. If you'd like to hear the sad story, I'll buy you a drink.
To celebrate what? How the big-time San Francisco attorney got the best of a small-town lawyer? No, thank you.
See you later, Fred.
Liberty?
Yes?
Message for you at the stage door.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mortensen.
Oh, you better get some food into him.
All right. To Heath Barkley, who has health, wealth, and I hope happiness.
And to Liberty Keene, sweetheart of Strawberry and now of Stockton.
You know, Heath, when I was a very little girl, Papa used to read me stories at night, and there was a book we both loved. It was about a poor ragamuffin boy who grew up to learn that he had great expectations. I'm very happy for you, Heath.
I've often wondered how you've been making out, Libby.
Well, now you know.
I'm sorry you never made it to New York, Libby. What's funny?
Oh, life. When you were 16 years old, you begged me to run away and marry you. Remember? And Papa ran you off?
Well, that wasn't funny, not to me.
Oh, nor to me. But Papa kept saying, we're just that far away, Libby. Just that far away from success. After Papa died, I went back to Strawberry to look for you. But it was too late. You'd already gone. I guess everything turns out for the best.
Did it, Libby?
Just think, if I had run off with you that summer, why, right now, you wouldn't be a dashing, eligible bachelor entertaining actresses with champagne suppers.
Well, I don't make a habit of it. The suppers or the proposals.
I know that. Any other man would have arranged this whole supper just to show a girl what she missed. Not you. You're kind and concerned. It's almost as if you still cared a little.
You don't stop caring about people just because you're separated.
Keith, if only we could turn time back. If we could just be the way we used to be. But I guess that isn't possible. But I had tonight, and I'll always be grateful for that.
That sounds like you're saying goodbye.
That's right.
But why?
Well, I'm not sure what time the saloons close here in Stockton, but when they do, the great Ambrose will come weaving his way back to the theater. And if I'm not there...
And if you're not there, what?
He'll either fall asleep in a drunken stupor or be waiting up for me in a wild, jealous rage.
Well, does he have a right to be jealous?
He's my husband. I needed somebody to look after me. Don't you see? Like Papa used to do. So I settled for Ambrose. Just like everything else in my life, it went wrong. I ended up taking care of him.
I'll take you back now, Libby.
You're angry with me, aren't you? Well, I guess you have every right to be. Keith, if what I did tonight seems, well, shameless to you, I'm sorry. It's just that living the way I do, you learn to snatch at a moment of happiness. I thought I could stop loving you, Heath. But I guess I never will.
A touching reading, my dear. But then you've made a specialty of these scenes, haven't you?
No, he's drunk.
Not that drunk, my dear. Just remember what I told you, I never kill. I never have to. I can place a bullet so that life isn't worth living.
Goodbye, Heath.
Libby, I can't let you.
Oh, I'll be all right. After all, where else could he find such a willing target?
My wife has a penchant for rich, young admirers. But strangely enough, she always comes back to me.
Are you all right?
Hurry!
I killed him.
You had no choice. Don't look like that, darling. It was the only thing you could do.
Well, Heath Barkley. What'd he do, rob the Frisco Mint?
Shut up, Tedrow.
Sheriff, now that this here's such a high-class jail, I'll be expecting a doily armor breakfast tray.
I can't help this, Heath. Rules.
When Jared gets here, ask him if he knows a smart lawyer.
You won't be needing a smart lawyer. You can get away with murder just so long as your name's Barkley.
You said you knew Heath Barkley in the mining camps.
That's right.
How well did you know him?
I told you we grew up together. We were friends.
Just friends.
What's going on here? Where's Heath?
He's in a cell, Gerard. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I had to lock him up.
I apologize for treating him just like any other murder suspect.
How many times do I have to tell you it was self-defense? Why won't he listen to me?
Now, you remember Miss Keene by her stage name. She's the victim's wife. Heath shot her husband tonight.
What makes you use the word murder?
I believe I said murder suspect. At the moment, it's just a death under mysterious circumstances until the coroner's jury says otherwise.
You're scheduling an inquest?
3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon at the theater where the shooting took place.
Tell me something, Archer. Have you really got a case, or is this just a chance to make the Barclays sweat?
I'm not a fool, Jared. I have a case. A good one.
Look, just because you bail me out of jail, you don't have to follow me around.
What's the matter? You object to my company?
I just want to see Liberty alone.
Now, for appearance's sake, it would be a lot wiser for you to avoid any personal contact until after the inquest.
Appearances be hanged. Now, I'm not letting Liberty face this alone.
Oh, Heath, I was so worried about you.
I got here as soon as I could. Whatever arrangements she's made, I'll take care of everything.
Now, I don't want you to feel...
Now, it's all settled. Now, you're coming back to the house and stay with us until this is all over.
Well, thank you. I don't think I could face going back to that theater alone right now.
Heath, the inquest is at 3 o'clock. I think it would be better if you stayed in town.
Well, we can come back. We both have to clean up and change clothes.
This is hardly an appropriate costume for an inquest.
Well, I'm sure Audrey can find you something. Let's go home. I'm fine, Mother.
Is it all straightened out?
I'll explain later.
Mother, Audrey, this is Liberty Keene.
I'm very glad to know you. How do you do?
How do you do? I wish we were meeting under happier circumstances.
I do, too.
I've invited Libby to stay a few days with us.
Good.
I hope I'm not imposing.
Not at all.
Oh, what a lovely chandelier. Heath, do you remember the one back in Strawberry? The one in the hotel? You remember the bet I won for Papa?
Her father made a bet that Libby could rattle the crystals with her singing.
I broke some of them. The money Papa won helped pay for the repairs.
Libby, why don't you try and get some rest?
Audrey, would you show our guest to her room?
Come on, Heath. We got some talking to do.
Never get arrested for murder in a pair of tied boots.
Well, Heath?
Now, don't get that look. There's nothing to worry about.
There's plenty to worry about. And the sooner you get that through your head, the better off you'll be.
The great Ambrose tried to kill me. I shot him in self-defense. How many ways can I say it?
And why does Phil Archer call it murder?
How should I know?
He's much too smart to try for an indictment without some pretty good evidence.
Happened just like I told you.
Now, let me see if I've got this straight. You and the victim's wife renewed an old love affair over a midnight supper at the Alhambra Club.
It was never an affair.
Then you returned her to the theater at a rather late hour and were confronted by her understandably angry husband.
He was drunk, crazy jealous. Life with him must have been hell for her.
A relationship nonetheless sanctified by marriage vows.
Jared, is this necessary?
I'm afraid it is. Now tell me again what happened in that alley.
He made threats. She went inside.
Threats against whom?
Me.
And in spite of those threats, you entered a dark theater and killed him. A professional marksman in a fair fight. Now, do you expect a jury to believe that?
Jared, you got it all wrong.
Haven't I told the truth?
It's the word you use.
You expect the prosecutor to use nicer words?
All right, Jared. Now you've acted out the devil's advocate. Why? Surely you don't think Heath is guilty.
Of course I don't think he's guilty. The trouble is, how are we going to prove it?
Well, I'll match Jared against that smug Jaybird Archer any day. Well, wake me in an hour, huh?
All right, isn't it?
Sure it is. There's nothing to worry about. And we'll tell it just like it happened, and that'll be the end of it. Libby, I was raised on trouble. You'll be all right. Trust me.
Read all about the murder. Read all about the murder in the theater. Come and get your paper right now.
You can't go on shouting about a murder. This can't rightfully be called a murder until a coroner's jury says a crime has been committed. Now, when they do that, then we can legally accuse a suspect.
The day this town accuses a Barkley is the day the horn will sound judgment.
Well, now, don't sell your fellow citizens short. They're honest men, and they'll hand down an honest verdict without fear or favor.
Wonder how much it will cost him to get out of this.
Heath was standing right there, right where you are, with a gun in his hand.
Did he say anything?
He said, I killed him.
I killed him. That'll be all, Sheriff. Thank you. Unless you wish to bring forward any other facts pertinent to this murder.
The word murder, Mr. Archer, is completely out of order here.
I stand corrected. And remind you that any defense of your brother at this time is equally out of order.
And I remind you both that this is an inquest, not a trial, and I am in charge. You're dismissed, Sheriff. Do you have any further witnesses, Mr. Archer?
Yes, sir. Call Mrs. Liberty Keene Carson, please.
Mrs. Carson? Place your hand on the book. Swear to tell the truth as you see it, so help you.
I do.
Now, you are Liberty Keene, the widow of Ambrose Carson.
Yes, sir.
And the great Ambrose was billed as the world's finest pistol shot. Is that correct?
That's right.
Well, isn't it ironic that he should be shot dead in a fair fight?
But it was a fair fight. Ambrose had a gun in his hand and was stalking Heath when I called out to warn him.
Well, madam, I find it very peculiar that you should show greater loyalty to a stranger than you did to your own husband.
I told you before, Heath Barkley and I are old friends. We grew up together in the mining camps.
An old friend who saw nothing reprehensible about a clandestine supper with a married woman?
Heath knew nothing of my marriage.
I trust the prosecutor will introduce into evidence the fact that the young lady and my brother met just yesterday, for the first time in 7 years. Hardly enough time to hatch a conspiracy, gentlemen.
Sir, I have no evidence of conspiracy. Only evidence of a cold-blooded murder. Well, gentlemen of the jury, I'd like you to recall the coroner's report that was read to you earlier. It stated that the witness's husband was a victim of 2 bullet wounds, one in the right arm and the second fatal one in the right temple. Now, the deed isn't very hard to reconstruct, is it? The first shot hit him in his right arm, his gun arm, preventing him from returning any fire with any degree of accuracy. Then the killer came forward and, taking careful aim, shot out his victim's life. Now, that's the way it happened, isn't it?
No.
No? No, it happened some other way? Or no, you didn't see him shoot your husband because you ran outside when the gun started going off. Well, that's it, isn't it? That's it. You were lying when you said you saw a shooting in self-defense. You didn't see anything. You didn't see anything.
I told the truth. It was the truth.
You told a lie. You told a lie in order to save a man about whom you were so concerned after the shooting. A man you called darling standing over the dead body of your husband. Motive for murder, gentlemen. Lust for a beautiful woman. A motive as old as original sin.
Makes sordid reading, doesn't it? I heard the porter call you Mr. Barkley. Are you one of them?
What's it to you?
Well, don't get huffy. I'm Fletcher of the Oakland Bulletin. If there's another side to that story, I'm the man to see it gets into print. Anything to say?
Nothing. Been to Salinas, horse auction.
Kind of a shock, huh?
You might say that, yes.
I guess right now you're wishing the old man's cold had never come out of the woods.
Nobody says that about him to me.
You better get used to it. You're gonna find people like a good scandal, Barkley. And when the mud's on you rich ones, they like it twice as much.
How's Libby? Is she all right?
She's fine.
You know, I'm glad she's got you to look after her. Libby's had a hard time all her life. Right now, there's something hurt and helpless about her. She needs somebody to take care of her.
It's you we're concerned about.
I left strict orders he was to have no visitors.
Sheriff gave Miss Barkley special permission, them being such important people and all.
Shut up, Tedrow.
Yes, may I please, Mrs. Barkley?
I'm sorry, Fred. I really can't understand your objections to my seeing my son.
Your son is about to be tried for murder. Just because his name is Barkley doesn't give him any special consideration.
Nor should it prejudice people against him.
Oh? Well, are you accusing me of prejudicial behavior, Mrs. Barkley?
Have you been reading the papers, Mr. Archer?
Neither of us can control the free press.
Not even to make it clear that half-truths have been twisted?
You have one opinion, the coroner's jury had another. The newspapers are entitled to theirs.
Not when they try to blame Heath for something beyond his control. The name he bears.
Well, it seems to me you're unduly sensitive on that point.
It's my name and I'm proud of it. I don't like seeing it smeared. Do you really believe there would be all this newspaper notoriety if a Barkley weren't involved? Would it cause statewide interest if that man Tedrow were on trial?
Now, I'll overlook your doubts about my integrity, Mrs. Barkley. But let me tell you this. Your coming here didn't help his case at all. I intend to examine every word of the testimony of the widow and the defendant, and if there's any change, well, there could be an accusation of conspiracy with you as intermediary.
That was not the purpose of my visit. You have my word for that.
And the word of a Barkley is sacrosanct.
There's only one step from envy to hate, Mr. Archer. And I think you've already taken it. Nick, Jared.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
How is he?
Oh, very calm, for my benefit. I'm afraid you can't see him. Phil Archer says no one but Jared can see him until the trial.
Well, I just want to tell him I'm back and he has nothing to worry about, so.
I'll tell him, Nick.
No.
See you both at the house.
The rig is over here.
Does that mean you're sure he's going to be acquitted?
It means he'd no more commit murder than herd sheep.
Then you Barkleys intend to stand behind him all the way.
With everything we've got.
You ought to be more careful with words.
that could be construed as a threat to use the Barkley money, prestige, and influence to make sure your brother gets off.
Well, now, I wouldn't say it quite that way if I were you.
You trying to tell me what I can write?
I'm trying to tell you, you misquote me, and you're going to get yourself in an awful lot of trouble.
That a threat?
That's a promise.
Thank you for a very good quote, Mr. Barkley. I think you're going to find out you aren't so high and mighty.
Nick! Nick!
Thank you.
I suggest you pour yourself a drink, Nick. I guarantee you you're going to need it.
Oh? Why?
We have our name in the paper.
Ranching heir Nick Barkley today threatened... What a filthy, rotten lies.
How can they print lies like that about important people?
Well, it's a rather involved question of semantics. Now, Nick may have only said promise to that newspaper man, but I understand he said it rather forcefully.
Well, now, what was I supposed to do? Just let him get away with it?
You know, your father used to say, when you wear a silk hat, you must be able to duck. Otherwise, you make yourself a target for every bobtail who can throw a rock. Now, that's the price you pay for being a Barkley.
Yeah. Only in Heath's case, it could be a lot more than just rocks. It could be a rope.
No, they can't. They can't do that, not to Heath. We won't let them, will we, Jared?
Believe me, Liberty, we'll do everything we can.
Jared, you have got to make them listen. You've got to make them understand how he was. He was cold and cruel and insanely jealous. If only I hadn't gone to see Heath that night. If I hadn't screamed after Ambrose hit me. That's why Heath came back. To help me. Now we've got to find a way to help him.
What do you mean you're going to get another lawyer to defend me?
Now, calm down, will you? Porter Hammond is one of the best. He's a master with the jury.
The prosecutor wants to see you, Jared. It's important.
All right.
Jared.
But we don't need another lawyer.
I think we do. Public opinion is running against us. We need somebody outside the family.
No. Now, I put my money on you, and it's staying on you.
Hammond is on his way over here.
I'm starting to feel sorry for you. He's trying to back out. Maybe you ain't such a member of the family as you thought.
I wouldn't have believed it of you, Jared. I wouldn't have believed you've been so stupid.
He had nothing to do with it. I told you that.
Nothing to do with what?
Go on, tell the big-time San Francisco lawyer what you just told me.
Well?
I killed Ambrose.
Oh, doesn't that surprise you, Barkley?
Archer thinks you put her up to it. Figuring a jury would go easier on a pretty woman.
Well, Liberty, if you're telling the truth, that means that Heath is lying, doesn't it? He must be taking the blame for you.
Heath knew nothing about it. The theater was dark. He didn't see me fire the shot.
With the what? With a gun you just happened to have in your hand?
The gun case was on the table. Ambrose had one. I used the other.
And you claim that in the dark, with all those bullets flying around, yours was the one that killed him?
I'm a very good shot.
Really? Sheriff, let me have your pistol. We'll check and see how well Mr. Barkley has coached you.
Don't push me too far, Phil. I don't need her to win this case, and you know it.
Well, just in case you're tempted, we'll put her to the test. Look, that wanted poster up on the wall, the man in the poster. Go ahead, shoot him. Now, were your hands shaking that much that night? Go ahead, it's dark. The guns are going off. Show us how you hit him. Go ahead. Go ahead, you don't have the time now. Go ahead and shoot.
All right.
You realize you might have gone to prison if your ability to handle a gun had been any better? You lied here, and you'll lie on the stand.
Reconstructing the crime, Counselor?
Something like that. Those are the dressing rooms, huh?
Yeah.
Would you mind unlocking them for me?
Oh, not at all. Oh, say, by the way, if it's any use to you, Ambrose was hitting the bottle pretty hard that night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I noticed it before they went on. I told her to get some food into him. Poor thing, I sure feel sorry for her.
This is hers, huh?
Oh, yeah, this is his right next to it. I wonder what she's going to do now. It's kind of hard on a young woman, all alone and near broke. She never could make it singing. I guess she can always go back to sharpshooting.
I didn't know Liberty did any shooting.
Oh, sure. Ambrose taught her all kinds of trick shots. I cut their act once a couple of years ago. Just like all the others, until he got the bright idea of making her the unexpected target. You know, kind of surprise the audience. Him pretending he's drunk and she's in danger. When you're finished, I'll be in my office.
Thank you very much.
Just a minute.
Well, may I come in?
Well, is it something that can't be taken care of at the office?
I've come to ask a favor, Phil. A big one.
Come in. Sit down.
I didn't know you still paid the tuber, Phil.
Why should you know? We haven't traveled in the same circle since we were in law school together.
Seems to me we were friends then.
People and water, they both seek their own level. What is the favor, Jared?
Phil, I want you to consider, just for the sake of argument, the possibility that Liberty might have been telling the truth yesterday.
You know, I figured you were bluffing when you said you didn't need her to win your case.
She said she was a good shot.
Yeah, well, you saw how good.
Good enough to be part of the act at one time.
Then how do you explain what happened yesterday?
Nervousness, cold feet, or possibly the expert way you drove at her. At any rate, she was at the scene of the crime, and I'm convinced she had a reason for wanting Ambrose dead.
Speculation. There's no way to prove that.
But there is. We can compare the death bullet with a bullet fired from Heath's gun.
How? The bullet was never removed.
Why not?
Well, Heath was found standing over a dead man with a gun in his hand. He confessed to the killing. There was no need to mutilate the body.
Phil, I want to see those bullets. I want you to agree to an order of exhumation. That's the favor.
He's buried in the churchyard. That's consecrated ground.
I know that, but there's legal precedent. It was ordered in San Francisco 3 months ago.
But this is not San Francisco. Here in Stockton, the dead have a right to sleep undisturbed.
What's more important, Phil? Respect for the dead or justice for the living?
I'm a public official. Now, that's very important to me. I've worked very hard for a very long time.
May I ask what that has to do with it?
Well, I wouldn't expect a successful big city lawyer to understand. I'm only interested in justice, equal justice.
What is it you resent, Phil? The fact that I didn't have to work as hard for success as you did?
Don't be ridiculous.
Then why are you out to get Heath? Why do you refuse to even consider the possibility that he may be innocent?
Because he is guilty. And none of your courtroom magic can cheat justice.
You know something? You're infected. Infected with the same blind rich man, poor man prejudice that's spreading all through this town. Or are you the source of it?
Get out of here. Go on, get out.
Sorry, boys.
You can go ahead home, Fred.
And let you rob a grave, I can't do that.
We've got permission.
Not from Archer. You went to the judge?
We figure that bullet can clear Heath.
Or put a rope around his neck?
I didn't expect this kind of cooperation, Phil. I want to thank you.
You're risking everything, Barkley. Your reputation, your career, and your brother's life.
Libby, what are you doing here?
Mr. Archer said there may be a way I could help you.
Well, that isn't quite correct. I wanted you here while we conducted this experiment. You see, Mr. Barkley has a theory that it was you who killed your husband.
That's a lie. She couldn't have.
I wish I had. I wish it had been me instead of Heath.
Jared, you leave her out of this.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Heath. You see, bullets from the same gun have identical markings and weight. Now, we're going to compare the death bullet, the one on that scale there, with the bullet from Heath's gun.
This is your gun, isn't it?
That's right.
They are, Phil.
Well, this scale is from the assay department of the bank. It's completely accurate.
I was so sure. I was so very sure.
I had to kill him. I had to. I was afraid for Heath. Ambrose would have killed him. It would have been my fault. All my fault.
You didn't have to kill him to prevent that. You're an expert shot, Liberty. Despite that deceptive exhibition you put on here, you could have placed this bullet anywhere you wanted. You wanted him dead.
She won't shoot me. Libby? Libby. I'll get a doctor.
No.
I'm trying to talk.
I have to talk. I have to make you understand. I never wanted to hurt you, Heath. I never thought you'd go to trial. Thought the Barclays were too important.
Libby, there's no need to explain.
Help me, Heath. Make them understand. I had to kill him. You saw how he was. How he treated me. How else could I escape? How else could I marry you?
Libby.
Where are all the bright lights Papa promised? Where, Papa? I came close, Papa. So close. Our dream almost came true. Just that far away.
Libby? Libby? Libby.
I don't like to see you punish yourself this way.
They're both dead. She killed Ambrose because of me.
She killed him because she was too weak at 16 to live your kind of life, and too weak at 25 to live with her own mistakes.
I keep remembering when we were kids, all of the things she wanted. And all her life, they were just out of reach. Just that far away.
She wanted the wrong things. And she could have had so much. So very much.
I've come to apologize. Well, you were right about me. It was a personal resentment of you. Of your success and your way with people. Oh, if either of you want further satisfaction, we can go out behind the barn.
Well, what do you think, Heath? Down by Snyder's Creek? Well, since there isn't going to be any trial tomorrow, we can see if the fish are biting.
Well, after everything that happened...
If it'll make you feel any better, Phil, you can dig the worms.